Hey guys, it's Brennan, also known as Slythr, and it's been a really busy Sunday. Like, to the average person, it's like I didn't do a lot, but I did a lot. I basically redesigned my entire website, and for those of you who want to go see it, oh wait, no, you're not going to be able to see it because I changed the settings. Anyway, too late. Maybe I'll include screenshots of like a before and after so you can see what my website used to look like versus what it is now. And basically, before it used to be flat images, you would click through a slideshow of different screens, and it was one screen for every project. This is actually like multiple page. It's a lot cleaner UI. And when you click on an image, you actually go into a different page that has a bunch of different things. So it's not going to be ready now when I publish this video, otherwise I totally would put a link in the description, but definitely by the time that the next video goes out. Unless like there's server issues or stuff like that, like it's all designed, everything's ready to go, and it's like in the website, it's just not propagated. Um, so that's what I've been working on. A lot of finding old projects and like putting them in, and then a lot of creating new assets for those projects. Because before I would only have like one, two, maybe three images of collateral. But getting mock-ups, even editing my old photos and making sure that they're all um, you know, ready for the web. And that's something that I probably have to go back and do anyway, because when I was uploading, I was just worrying about getting the images on there and not necessarily like making sure everything was web optimized. So some of the images definitely take a couple seconds to load, which isn't great. So I'm going to go back and do that when I have time. But just getting everything together was the biggest thing. Um, I mean, it's also kind of been a chores day, so whenever I just needed to take a big break from this, like every 2 hours or so, I'd like, go do laundry or eat. That's a thing. Oh my gosh, I need dinner. It's like 8 o'clock right now, and I started this at 10. To give you an idea of like how much I've been focusing on this, um, I completely forgot, like halfway through the day, I realized that the game that I play, Star Wars Battlefront, there was a double experience point weekend, and I just completely neglected it. I haven't even jumped on. There's still like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours left of the day, and that's honestly just going to be me doing dishes and being an adult. Like, I hate myself for it, but that's just where I'm at. Research about like housing, different socioeconomic statuses. Like, first of all, like, what are the top cities to live in for my um, career field? Those being New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, and Texas, of all places. Like, Austin is a big tech hub. Like that, I think North Carolina was six. Really weird. I didn't expect those two. But then I like looked at those and like the other four on the top 10 and figured out what is the best in terms of cost of living, what is the best for my demographic, where is weather that I like, and then like, cost of housing and things like that, cost of land. Oh, that's my dinner. So I did all of that research, and then I was looking at different suburbs around those cities, like where is the best for someone that's just starting out, um, and then like looking at like schools and just the companies that are based around those areas. And then I narrowed it down even further because after this year is up at CVS, like I might be out here for a little bit more. I I might, I don't know. It's hard to say. But it's a year minimum contract, and then after that, depending on if I get a new job or like if I really really want to go back to Southern California, that I don't know. It's still kind of up in the air. Um, but all of that aside, eventually I'm going to be moving somewhere else. and I want to be able to save up for another year, maybe year and a half, and then move to the city that like I want to live in. And ever since I was 16, that's always been Seattle for whatever reason. Like I just love it there. I love the rain. I love the whole like tech sphere, everything about it. Um, Actually, my buddy just moved up there. I think I mentioned this in the last video, and he wants me to go out and see him. That's probably not going to happen until August, um, but it's something that I'm strongly considering, and that gives me an opportunity to like look around the area and see what I like. So, all of that aside, I was looking at housing, and housing is ridiculous, especially for the cost of living, the income compared to um, the cost of a house now versus, 20, 30, 40 years ago. Um, the disparity in wealth has greatly increased. It's almost impossible to buy real estate unless it's somewhere where people don't necessarily live, like, Midwest, or if it's somewhere that isn't that great of an area. Um, all of that, taking all of that into consideration, there is something, a movement called microhousing, where people, especially around my age, are saying houses are ridiculous. They've been built for 50 years, owned by people that have probably died in those houses. Like, I don't want anything to do with that. That's like 10 years of my income just going to that, best case scenario. And that's like signing a death warrant. Like, I don't want to do that. That means I'm trapped in this and I have to have a job steady for a decade and make sure, at least a decade, and make sure that all of this goes smoothly. And that's not something that I want to be confined in. Um, so this movement is called microhousing, and there's a lot of companies that make these houses that slide by federal regulations. So the minimum requirement to have a permit is if your building is 12 feet by 12 feet or larger, then you have to have a building permit. Um, so there's a couple of companies that make houses that are that size or smaller or like get around those in different ways, and they range anywhere from 15 to 80,000. Now these aren't like mobile home parks, the scuzzy rundown like trailers with wheels on it. This is not what I'm talking about. It is a prefab house that is shipped and placed in the ground on a foundation, um, and you can hook up to any municipal lines. Or a lot of these companies have like off the grid living, where you can have solar panels, you can have water treatment or water capture if it rains a lot, and there's a lot of different options that revolve around this. One in particular that I'm looking at is this house. I can't remember the name of the company for the life of me. I have it in my notes. But it's like 28 Nomad. It's like 28,000, and you have everything that you need in 2 stories. I'll see if I can like find the floor plans and try and put them in on here. But it's like 2 people can live in it max. But it's everything that you would ever need all crammed into one. The floor plans that they have, actually, come to think of it, is the 10 by 10 feet, which is the minimum requirement for Canada. So it would be slightly larger, which means that it can include things that it doesn't include in the Canadian model, which is like a dishwasher and like washer and dryer. Everything else is already included. If I don't necessarily want to go this route, then I can get something that's slightly larger that I do have to have building permits and things for. That's around the 70,000 mark, but it's completely furnished with like stainless steel appliances and everything, like it's all set. And that could be something that I could ideally live until like 50, 60, until I start to get like up in age. Not that I would want to, but the main goal of this is to go somewhere, buy a plot of land for like 10, 15K, get a house and build it on there. Obviously, like hooking up utilities and the construction cost of like getting it all set is going to be another like, 10K-ish. But all of that combined, that's 15, let's just say 30K for the house for sake of argument. I could have a house paid off, 55K, own the land, an acre of land, by the time I'm like 28, 29. That is incredible. And I think that's what I want to do. Obviously, like I plan on getting married before I'm 30-ish, I hope. Um, but having a piece of real estate that's just paid off completely, that's don't have to worry about. I'm so sick of paying rent here. It's $9,000 a year, which isn't a lot, but I'm just paying money to like a random stranger. I would either rather give that to my family or have an investment instead of just like shelling money out to God knows who. Um, so that's kind of my thinking, my theory. Let me know what you guys think. Um, and again, obviously, like that's not going to be the house for the rest of my life, but it would be really cool to own an acre of land and then have like a guest house while I collaborate with an architect on my dream home when I'm 30. Um, so again, lofty plans, lofty goals, but I definitely see myself making that happen sometime within the next 5 years. But yeah, I've rambled on long enough. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you later. Have a good one.